Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had your Tia smash that subscribe button, go ahead and have her smash it right now. This episode right here is going to be one that you guys have been asking from the start. Right, as soon as I showed up on the scene, these questions kept coming up often. Okay? Let me tell you about prison, in case we haven't already gathered this. Prison is like operating in shark-infested water. Alright? If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how to move, if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to operate, you're going to fall overboard and you're going to get eaten alive. I've seen it happen to Greenside, subordinates of mine, peers of mine, superiors of mine, and I definitely seen it happen on the blue side, right? This is nothing to be taken lightly. This is something to be taken very serious as a matter of fact, right? Because it is not a game. It is 100% not a game. Man, I did 16 years in the California Department of Corrections. Starting in 2006, things were different then compared to how they are now. When I first became a correctional officer, young, Iraq war veteran, impulsive, naive to the shark-infested waters, right? Everything was a learning experience. Everything was the goal was to stay quiet and observe, right? Watch, listen, pay attention. See this person get in the jam. See this person get in the jam. I found myself in jams. Your boy isn't exempt from making mistakes. In 2006, the California Department of Corrections had a place called Pelican Bay State Prison. Still do. There was also Corcoran State Prison. Still there. In these two individual prisons, I think Tehachapi as well, but in Corcoran and in Pelican Bay, at the time, what you had was the highest of the leadership of organizations. The California Department of Corrections had decided in the early 80s, the 90s, that their idea to combat violence, their idea to isolate individuals, to isolate the leadership of said organizations was going to be the answer. That was... Man, this is an interesting topic now that I'm thinking about it. That was their answer, right? The department's answer. Let's separate these guys from the rest of the general population, and that'll stop the violence. That'll stop what's going on. Well, I already told you guys. In 2006, all the way up in Centinela, all the way up until 2014, 2015, there was stabbings conducted on the yards. Charlie Yard, level 4, GP. You guys already know Calipat on and cracking. Never stopped cracking. Probably going to crack until the dawn of time, right? These are just how things get down in the California prison system. So, was that the answer? By isolating these individuals to stop the violence? Well, that didn't work, right? If that's what they were anticipating on doing. They had their methods of communication. They had a following. Man. So let's fast forward to 2014-ish, 2015-ish. I remember these hunger strikes. I was an officer. Now, different mindset, different time. I didn't know the ins and outs. I didn't know the magnitude. I didn't know the extent of these hunger strikes. To me, it was just dudes not eating. Period. That's how new, or I wasn't necessarily new. I had some years in. I just wasn't in the game yet. I wasn't the strategy type wise, right? So the reason for these hunger strikes was since the department decided to remove the leadership of the top leadership of the organizations and put them away. After 20 years, that's 2 decades, 30 years, that's 3 decades of being confined in a cell 23 hours a day. 1 hour, you get to go out to yard, and you get to come right back into your cell. 20 years of that. 30 years of that. I'm going to be honest with you right now. There is something to be said about the mental capacity, the mental fortitude, and the strength to not ever crack under that. I don't care what you call it. Man, I was in the military, so I think of prisoners of war. I think of Vietnam. I think of torture tactics. I think to be confined in a cell, man, who has ever been in a prison know that those cells are not that big, man. You could literally probably touch both arms hand to hand, right? And just so all the heads came together and said, no more. No more. Not going to have it. That's enough. Inhumane treatment. I don't know the technical terms, right? Because I just got a high school diploma. But you're catching my drift, right? Not going to happen. We're putting an end to this. Actually, well, they did put an end to it. Called end of all hostilities. Right? So your boy over here on the back end is promoting a sergeant, right? Going to a different prison. Donovan, RJD. Meanwhile, this is happening over here, man. Right? There's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on. Well, the department says, you know what? Yeah. Yes. That and probably some judges. Everything is legal. Everything is legal, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. Everything is legal. Court mandates. They had politics that has a big influence. It has a big influence over the department. So I remember hearing they're letting him out. They're letting him out. And initially, the thought process was no, right? Why would you do that? No, right? And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm being forthcoming here. Right? Did I think it would work? Did I not think it would work? I don't know. It was just a big deal. History. It was history. I don't care which way that's going to be history. It is history then. It's history now. Going to be history later on, right? In essence, the end of all hostilities peace treaty was saying no more massive the violence against the races, right? Against each other. No, end of all hostilities. Exactly that, right? End of all hostilities. End of all hostilities. I don't know how else to put it. These individuals started hitting main lines. Boom, 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 boom. Centinela State Prison got a lot. Got a lot of them, right? Got a lot. Got a lot. Donovan got like two. Got like initially got like two dudes that had been away for a long time, right? Okay. I'm talking about initially. One of them I think transferred out to another prison, and another one I think passed away, but that's those two. This is not part of this story right here. So, yeah, the multi-race riots on the magnitude that it used to be, I've given you like probably 3 riots that I've been in my previous videos. Mexicans and blacks, right? That, to me, from my observation, stopped, ceased. It was true. End of all hostilities. Didn't happen, right? I was even on yards where, like a GP yard at Donovan. I told you there's a good yard, right? There was then, there is now. GP. So, yeah, I'm seeing like, okay, they're okay. It's working, right? For me to say it's working, I mean, for it to be not working would be them fighting. Well, they're not fighting, so it's working, right? Okay, let's fast forward to when certain yards flipped at Donovan. They flipped 2 yards. One used to be S and Y over here, or one used to be GP over here. This one was S and Y. They flipped the yards. Now you got GP over here. Now you got S and Y over here. So, yeah. Yes. Okay. There is no, in certain organizations, right? In certain organizations, there is no formal rank structure. Meaning, you're not going to have, like us, Greenside. You're not going to have the AW, the associate warden, the captain, the lieutenant, the sergeant, the officer. You're not going to have that rank structure, right? All men are created equal. There are some very, very, very powerful people. There are some powerful people. There's powerful people everywhere, right? There's some, I mean, there's the influence. Let's talk about influence. To be somebody who's influential means that, like, hey, your word has weight. Your word has power. Your word is carrying that I'm not going to say message, but your word holds weight, right? Three individuals. As a lieutenant on the facility, it would not have been in my best interest not to communicate, not to establish a rapport, not to maintain the peace, keep the peace. I'm going to tell you right now. Ain't nobody waking up in the morning anywhere and being like, man, I want to get myself into a stabbing battle with whoever I want to get myself into. Not COs, not inmates. Ain't nobody wants that, right? And this is kind of actually a good story. Nobody wants that, right? Because for the majority, or maybe it's a minority, I don't know, that have already experienced that to those levels, know that, hey man, that's there's other ways, there's like bloodshed would always be, to me, and I would assume to others, a last resort. Does it get there? Yeah, man, it gets there. Look at it gets everywhere you look, man. You can have like Chicago shootouts on the streets. You can have like wherever, LA, San Diego, Stockton, 209. Wow. Oakland, right? Violence should, would, could, and always be the last resort. That ain't, I already told you, ain't nobody waking up, right? Saying, I want to just wreak havoc. I want to just destroy the world today, right? Very few people, evil people like probably like maybe Hitler, Saddam Hussein, Pollard. Many people just want to destroy the world, right? And if there was a misconception, if there was they didn't, I'm just telling you how it is, right? So it was in my best interest to establish those lines of effective communication, right? And it came from an authentic place. It came from an authentic place, from right here, from your boy. And I'll tell you why. Because I never, ever documented any of those conversations, nor did I want to, nor was that my intention, nor was I trying to gain anything. The only thing I was trying to gain was peace, right? Same thing that everybody else wanted for the 99.9%, right? Being a lieutenant carries some weight too, right? Unless you're a buffoon, and then people will not take you serious, right? But I remember from officer, man, that's why I never forgot. Sacramento. From being an officer, I remember how they would treat me in the house unit. Man, they used to mistreat me with their words, right? That was initially the testing period, right? It's all good. It's part of the process. Sergeant, oh, hey, what's up, Sarge? Good morning, Sarge. Okay, I see what's going on here. Cool. Good morning. Lieutenant, oh man, I'm gonna be dispensing that justice via the rules violation process. It'd be, man, hey, can I get you some coffee? Can I? Nah, just kidding. Not to that extent, but you're catching my drift, right? It's it holds weight. It holds influence. It worked because on my watch, right? And it's not on whose watch or not. Like nothing major went off, kicked off. Did stuff happen? Yeah. There's a story on one of my videos that like what happened on that yard, right? When you have individuals on both sides that do not think with clearer heads, right? Clear heads prevail, man. Everything is strategy, chess. The people who don't make it are the people that don't think, can't think, or don't can't function, can't operate in that world. That world is exactly that world, man. It was an experience. Do I know what the future holds? I don't know what the future holds. I will say this. Like, there's a lot of end game results, right? Like, look at like a chess board. There's a lot of moves that you do a move here, this can happen. You do a move here, this can happen. You did a move over here, you didn't see the move over here, this happened, right? It can be treacherous. It can be treacherous, right? And same thing for green side. I always ask anybody you know. Ask anybody that knows me. Did Hector always say, man, our two sides are a lot alike? Cutthroat, treacherous. And it was the truth. Our green side, superiors, they acted like they were operating on pure like immunity, or whatever that word is. Punitive action. Yeah, some of the shit they did to us was punitive, but you get my idea. Immunity, and they will later go on to fall, right? They've gotten caught up in jams. They've gotten caught up in wrecks, right? Sit back and watch, man. Sit back and watch the show. It's interesting. It's very interesting, right? The message for today is, it's going to be a simple message. It's going to be a simple message. The message is, ain't nobody trying to destroy the world, right? Unless you are one of those people that are evil, right? A dictator. I've already said that. Other than that, the majority, 95%, are just navigating the shark-infested waters. Keep pushing forward.